I'm so constrained. I'm so restricted. I'm so controlled and limited. Living with neighbors with addictions and drug hallucinations and confusion. I'm a cancer survivor in mental health. A chordoma skull-based diagnosed patient of Dr. Manuel Ferreira Jr. I've been assaulted twice and attacked when I was young. I've been called a bitch by a man with his wife and his son. I hear Black Lives Matters every night and whistles blowing. I hear voices and whispers, not in my brain and inside my head, and thoughts, but in a house, in a mental health with more drugs than opportunity to have health and wellness now. I no longer have dreams. I no longer have goals. I have days. I have nights until I die. I have mornings to prepare for my death. I have a counselor, social worker who stares at me blankly as a racist, declared with my white skin and my loud, obnoxious voice now. I'm smart and irrelevant. In other words, a poem about mental health doesn't have the glitz and glamour of a Mr. President Joe Biden election. Speaker of some words, eloquently describing thoughts spoken aloud now. And though I don't practice race and trust ethnicity, I don't disregard those who have disabilities, different skin colors, and loudness of their voices and tones of their dialect now. I'm an example of what happens on planet Earth when those who have difficulty are forced to live with those who enjoy addiction and stimulation, dominance, and who are supported in their control, their limits and expectations. Whenever someone uses a sweet voice, a soft sound to soothe, calm ears, and make life moods more colorful and bright and lucid and vivid, and emotions more neutral and gender less important now. I get laughed at more, assaulted more, bullied more, and told more I am a rat, snitch, bitch than receiving encouragement and strength Russell Wilson gives to Seattle Children's Hospital, saying strong against cancer to those children and those babies who are on chemotherapy and have tumors and incurable diseases now. I record a video and I make an echo and I hear a response. I hear a distraction. I hear confusion. I hear more drugs. More economics with mafias and cartels and gangs. Then I feel love in response to the compassion that I trust always inspires those struggling to never give up. I heard a man the other day in a wheelchair, and he said he jumped off a building to commit suicide. He said he served in the United States Navy. And he said mental health his whole life was difficult, an illness, a sickness, and nearly killed him. And I sat, I stood, I listened, and I bought him some Diet Dr. Pepper and said, find me when there's no water and food during an earthquake, and I will share my rations, and I will do what I can. There's no recovery from cancer in Seattle other than those who have lots of friends on Facebook. Big families, small, efficient families. Dominance and power. Having a girlfriend and a significant other to assist with a process to not have to stare death and dying, to not have to feel dead and ashamed. I speak and don't choose to be silent now. I make noise, I make loud thunders and ohms, and I get 10-day eviction notices. I hear men in women's apartments and feel an uneasiness I felt when my father molested me when I was only a child. And still hear the memories from my sister saying, there was no way he could have ever done those. That, to me, my mom confused from her brain aneurysm hemorrhage, sitting alongside mental health professionals from King County to mediate a discussion about what I had said not only previously, but wholeheartedly what my father did to me when my mother was at work. And my sister was not around. He told me about UFOs in his closet, his abduction, and his alien specimen they took out of his arm. And then he showed his teeth and growled and stared at me, stared at me, stared at me, and stared. Blank face, cold. And now, there's no end. There's no job for the college applicant who studied English literature and film studies, critical theory and psychology and philosophy with an Iranian professor who now teaches in Saudi Arabia, intending to teach and be a United States Navy sailor. And unfortunately, had cancer and couldn't say to the recruiter when they called me from the San Juans, what those people can say whenever they want now. Now. I can't play my Native American flute. I can't sing a song, but every night, a group of people wake the kids and the children in bed and say to the adults, they're smarter than y'all, more intelligent and brilliant and genius. Louder and more strong and powerful and relevant than an explanation of consciousness and brain and body and a duality currently in a world with economics and suffering. Including behavior, observation, stimulation and reward, and mind. And so I sit in mental health. I sit in an apartment. I sit in an apartment in a city called Capitol Hill, in Seattle, in Washington State, and have no options other than a number of jobs needed to pay rent for a room in a closet, a room in a house in Kenmore, Shoreline, far away. And I always remember 15 minutes and then